So glad you could join us for the perspective where we fully unveil the Eidolon Express Grand Prix. I'm Commander Leonhardt, joined by various members of the event team: Beauty and Discovery, Firebird Lover, Garen, Dimar, and X Pankraz.
And that silence you're hearing is none of us quite sure what to say next. Hi, I'm Firebird Lover. I'll be the first to introduce myself. Who else wants to
go? This is I am Dimar here. I've been working hard to make sure that these flag sets have been ready to go for everybody for this tournament.
It's so awkward with 6 people.
Hey, that's why I established I'm deferring right at the start.
When
I'm planned ahead.
It doesn't work very well.
I see how it is. With that, one of the main things we wanted to do with the event is showcase a lot of the new flags that are showing up in 5.0. We don't have room for all of them, and not all of them are great for an event anyways, but there are a fair amount that we managed to work in. So let's get into that. In the O group, we have a new thing called objective groups. What this lets you do, rather than just be, hey, you've got to complete some amount of objectives and either get your crystal or win your game, you can complete groups of objectives that give you different rewards, maybe characters, gears, items, dark matter, and you can have one group set be win crystal and a different group set be win game. So that gives you 2 different ways to win if it's set up like that. Spoilers for those of you that haven't been doing the asyncs, we totally set it up that way. There are also objectives for defeating X number of bosses, turning in a certain amount of GP. It's a lot of fun. It's very exciting.
The good thing about all these new 5.0 flag sets is that we're able to put together things that are normally have never been done inside of a free enterprise tournament setting. So you really get to see the possibilities open up with these new flags.
Yeah, between our nested objective groups, between being able to make hard required objectives, a little bit of decision making, you only have to do one of these 2 things instead of, one of 2 as a whole. Allows for a lot more variance and a lot more flexibility in how we can design a seed length, how we can design difficulty, how you can design your reward system. Make your first objective a Get Cane, which gives you a Super Smith, and then just blow up the seed. You can make things however you want, which is going to be great.
In fact, there were so many new options, we couldn't fit it all into one flag set. But more on that later. Excuse me. K. There are a lot of changes to the K flags. We have K character, which some of your character checks suddenly turn into key item chests. Nothing like going up to Zod and seeing a red chest save a red chest from a large wrecking ball. Got some fine-tuning to the KMIAB where they can only be put in certain areas. Would we like MIAB chests? Yes, we would. Would we like to dive the LST for them? No. No, we would not.
Speak for yourself.
I feel confident I'm speaking for enough people that I can say we in this sentence. There's also K-Start, where the opening item you get from whoever's in the bygone spot during the initial cutscene can be forced. There's K Late Dark, which will guarantee that the darkness crystal will come after your underground access. And K Unweighted is another fun one. So a lot of the old free enterprise hands know that K main checks tend to be more likely to have K key items than summon or moon checks or MIAB checks, due to the way the randomizer sets things up. K unweighted throws that logic out the window, and each spot is just as likely to have a key item as not.
That all our new flags?
For the K. Moving on.
Now going on to the character flags. You now have See No Giant, which there will be no character at the back of the giant. There's also See Partner, where you can limit who can be your starting partner, or you can even make it a key item check. And then See Wishes, where all available characters will be taken from their vanilla spots and be waiting for you inside the Temple of Wishes in Mysidia.
C Partner also has the ability to do the reverse. You can have characters that will not appear anywhere else in the flag set, but can appear in the partner spot. K character's awesome with it. You lie. You lie. Have you ever won? K okay. Sorry. We have Beauty yelling in our ear. K character can interact with Giant in a very interesting way. That yes, you might find the key item you desperately need at the end of the Giant.
Y'all thought Demas at Giant 2 holding your progression was bad. It just got worse. As for See Wishes, who has time to run around and find all the characters? Not us. We don't have time for that. We got places to go. We got bosses to kill. We got key items to get. We don't need to waste time. All this character hunting. Bah!
I'll say with See Wishes, since I forgot this, there is a second room in the Mysidian Crystal Room now that has the extra characters off to the upper left of the room.
Please don't miss it. Your white mage might be there.
Could be. Also, as some of our intrepid playtesters have discovered, if you have See Wishes on and you see multiple copies of a character, and See Neki is on, then if you don't have dupes on, they are the separate characters, and they might have different gear. It's a little niche, but if you're desperately searching for a Thunderclaw,
Or arrows, if you want to check the users for arrows.
Yeah, true.
I'm just trying to find a second sword for my ninja.
Gosh. Edge was never meant to swing only one weapon. It's so sad.
But we can always just take that claw off of Yang and give it to him, so he can do punch mage things along with that one sword.
It's possible, Alchemy. It's possible.
Yeah.
So why isn't someone telling me about how the shops and treasure settings have changed?
Because we're having fun talking about the characters, but we can move on. T and S both have a playable flag now. What that means is that if you see gear, somebody in the seed can use it. You might not know where they are, but this will at least tell you where they are. You'll see a crystal sword, you have a Cecil. There are some interesting things going on there with Edge, though, right?
Yeah, if Edge can dart it, then that means that Edge might be in the seed and not the other character. So Xcale does not tell you if Cecil is necessarily in the seed if Edge is also in the seed.
Yeah. We also will be making use of T Max tier, which puts a cap on the maximum tier of the item, like it says, that you can find in a chest, though it's worth noting that this Only applies to the... Does not apply to MIABs or to the zonks on a key item check, right? This is strictly just on plain, easy chests.
Yes.
But to segue into the next part, the MIABs, however, do have their own setting as well. And we have TMIABs Pro, which will override the treasure setting for the MIABs.
Yep. We can put Wildish for most of the things, but given what T Wildish looks like on the Eblin MIABs, we can say, nah, we'll just make it Pro. Looting Eblin Castle is silly anyway. And lastly, though, T unrestricted area. For a specific area, ignore all of that max tier nonsense. So, max tier 5 sounds great, but we really want people to rate that treasury, so we're gonna unrestrict the treasury. And okay, tuna restrict, sure, I'll go with that, Scythe. Anyway. Tuna restrict the treasury so that we can still rate the treasury and encourage people to go to it, because a max tier 5 treasury would be pretty dull. Now I want tuna.
Yeah, to kind of synthesize everything so far, so much of all these flags is decoupling a lot of what's been forced beforehand. You know, only Miabs and treasure chests have to share the same curve. Now we can do separate curves. Only these characters can appear here, and now we can do separate curves. You can specify a lot more singletons, startings, opens up a lot of flexibility and a lot more, to an extent, that Plando feel. You have a lot more control in your flag set generation and in how you want the story of the seed to play out. And we've tried to take part of that, or take that in part in what we've done. Should work out well.
And also want to take a moment to send a shout out to the Forks team, because a lot of this has been integrated from the 4.6 scale Swift Forks. So we appreciate the guys that made that happen, because now you're going to be seeing that here in 5.0 as well.
Yeah.
Here, here.
Well, now
Now
that
it's-
your lovely restreamers figured out how to fix their audio issue, hello everybody. Time for me to chime on in, and I can introduce the B flags, the boss flags. A lot of big changes in the boss flags, which are really, really exciting. And the pivotal key one, I would say, is B Chaos and B Maybe. Chaos is true to its name. Any boss bot can have any boss, no matter if it's been seen before. You want 4 Ogopogos, you get 4 Ogopogos. Maybe, though, means that bosses only show up a maximum of 2 times, so you still do get some variability there. You still get a potential for 1 or 2, but it's not going to be just a million copies of Vault Gauntlet. So a little bit of extra chaos to it, but not true chaos.
We have a little chaos. That's a treat. We also have B Chaos Burn. So with B Chaos and B Maybe, you might have more than one. But if we had Witch Burn on, what would be the fun in constantly getting the same thing every
Ice
time?
one.
You get
What's
charmed
the ice
once by
one?
Wyvern. Do you really want to see it again? Don't answer that. Chaos Burn. Each Wyvern has a different opening. And then following up with more of the mix it up and keep things different, there's B Witchbez. Golbez doesn't just hit you with... Wait. Golbez doesn't... No. You don't get a hold gas, right? It just changes everything up. The demolish, the hold gas, the spells, the whole shebang.
The hold gas does stay the same, but the 3 random skills that Shadow will cast on the party are different, and the 3 spells that he will. But the hold gas will remain the same. And I would also like to point out that the chaos thing, it does not apply to Witch Bez here. So whatever you see Golbez and Shadow doing, you're probably going to see that every single time.
Wacky Golbez.
All right, well,
Moving
next
on.
up, we've got our X flags, which previously were EXP, but because there's so many changes to them, they are kind of a new fleshed out category. FBL, I stepped over you a little bit.
That's okay. I was just kind of moving on. We noticed that grinding wasn't particularly fun to do or watch. So here's a bunch of flags that make it easier to say, you don't need to grind. But I think Pancraz has the scoop on what they're about.
Not hardly.
Oh.
As part of getting more experience throughout the seed, instead of just having your static boost for your 10 key items or for your lack of 10 key items or your slingshot bonuses, we've added so many more and for so many different things. Your objectives can now give you a percentage boost alongside for every objective completed with your X objective bonus. Every key item check that you do can also add a small bonus on top of that, whether or not it's an objective, it's not, it gives a key item, or it's not, just another percentage boost along the way. If your Fabul defense for the 1000th time just gives you a samurai armor, that's not the end of the world, because that can also give you a percentage boost in your experience points with the the K Zonk bonus. For when you receive not a key item along your path, a little bit more incremental stuff to soften the blow, so to speak. All of this can get out of hand fast. Compound, you can make them additive, you can make them multiplicative, you can mess around with it and get a ton of experience really fast. So if you don't want to go too fast, we also have the X Max multiplier. If you only want to go 300%, 400% experience, and you don't want your 6x60 machine grind to give you 37 million experience, you can put a little bit of a soft cap in place on that. And then we've readapted a few of our older ones in there as well. Your experience no key bonus, the 2 times bonus for 10 key items, that has its own flag, or rather a new flag in the X category instead of being separate in the other changes. Similarly for the slingshots. All in all, it kind of evens out your experience curve throughout the seed, and like FBL said a little bit ago, you might not have to grind, because you can get all your experience as you go through the seed.
Sorry to put you on the spot there, but I figured based on your name, you had to know about the X flag better than anyone.
No, that was just because Pancraz was taken circa 2010, and I was about 12 years old. As was the style at the time.
All right, next up, we have got the Q for Quality of Life, a whole new category for you all to explore and see, starting with Q Message Speed Fix. So there is a vanilla bug in the game where the text in battle, particularly around good old Luge Doctor dialogue, can get hung up a little bit. Someone may have a better explanation for this, but this Q flag fixes that, puts it back to what it should have been by design of the developers, and kind of helps get through those dialogue boxes a little bit faster. And Leon, I think I heard you jumping in right about the same time as me. So if you want to take on the piece de resistance,
but I got it.
That is Q Fast ROM.
Q Fast ROM. There's been a lot of talk about it. A lot of questions. We'll get more on that later. But for now, we'll just talk about the flag. It adds Fast ROM, which cuts down on the lag in a lot of spaces. If you cast Nuke, it will be noticeably different on Fast ROM. This does also make some of your ticks go faster than you'd expect. It doesn't hit you as hard if you have Zerkers in, because they're still clogging the queue with what they do. But if you're trying to do reflect strats on Z, you are going to want to rethink your battle speed real fast.
It's pretty amazing to see the differences, particularly in something like Fire 3 or Leviathan Wave. Those absolutely fly now, and it's something to behold. Very fun.
Even more so against bosses that would previously have lag. Your plagues, your CPUs of the world that have the floating aspect. That Leviathan cast might have been 12, 13 seconds before, and you are staring at that timer in pain, and now it's normal speed. That's great.
It is definitely one of those things where that old adage that slow is smooth, smooth is fast, it applies here.
Speaking of fast, new kits. Most importantly, I think one that we all kind of wished existed at a certain point, the exit kit. So it used to be that you would only get exits from a kit, and I believe it's the Freedom kit. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Now there is one that just gives you a nice little 5 to 10 exit boost. You tele stocks way down.
A couple of the other kits could randomly get you exits, but they weren't assured to.
Yeah. But yeah, I do love the exit kit, and other than people that invested in telestocks, I think a lot of other people will too. Just being able to do a lot of that initial overworld looting without having to spend the time walking out of places, and maybe you took a couple at the end in case Seed was weird with who it gave you. It's a lovely kit. Highly recommend. And lastly, we have another occurrence of playable. Given what TNS playable does, it should be no surprise what Smith playable does. Whatever Kolkol forges, somebody in the game will be able to use it. No longer getting Abel's Lance when there's no Cane, which is just the worst. Wait a minute. Can you dart an Abel's Lance? I hope not.
Don't believe so.
That's a good question.
All right, Dimar, this is a lot of cool new flags. How are we combining them?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the new flags really opened up a lot of possibilities. So we'll go ahead and let's get into the first one right now. The first flag, which was known in the test as the 150cc, is called the Xantasuken Circuit. In this flag set, you generate power quickly through instant treasury access and recruit your party at Mysidia. From there, you leverage your momentum into completing various objectives, complete 50 dark matter for Tori's research to win the game. If you like getting out to a fast start, a flag set with high jet seed potential, this is one for you. Some of the 5.0 flags that will be featured here is the K character, the groups of objectives, which really that's going to be in all of them. And then you also will be starting with the Earth Crystal, as I said, you get the instant treasury access. And you will be seeing boss objectives here as well, where you collect dark matter through them. So to make that a little easier, we give you B Chaos.
Yeah, the groups in this flag set serve basically to assign a dark matter value to each objective. Everything in Group A gets you 3 dark matter, everything in B gets you 5, etc., etc. Except for the last group, of course, which is where we had to tuck our game in.
Now, just to point it out, this is based on the preset, because there is a new mode in 5.0 where you can do the collect dark matter, and it gives you a preset amount of objectives. But we took that and then we added our own twist to fit into the theme of Odin and the overworld.
To answer the question in chat, Alchemy, it is very much a point system. There is no other explanation. You can use these objectives in a lot of different ways to now create very intricate point systems. And this is Dimar's masterpiece.
You can incentivize the overworld and summon theme spots like we've done here. You can incentivize or extra incentivize the moon. You can move power to different places and or, bring back the giant % dream of legend and lore. For the low cost of some dark matter.
And there are a lot of other flags here that emphasize who has time for this nonsense. Got to go fast. S cabins. Sorry if the starting Earth Crystal Treasury isn't enough for you. I don't know what to do for you. We don't have time for this shopping. Vanilla MIABs. You do want to go looting somewhere? You know where all those chests are. Go right in and get the good stuff. Or go straight for those. Who are we to judge?
I see a comment in chat, and I want to make sure I'm understanding it right. Alchemy says it's kind of rough having to go to Quarry every time routing-wise, but considering the super weapon is still good. I hope I'm understanding this right. You don't have to go to Quarry every time you complete, only when you have the full 50 or the 20 if you want to get the super weapon. It'll just build up until you have gotten your 50, go to Quarry, and ta-da, you've won the game.
Yeah, if you have no use for a super weapon, then you can just go in and hand them at 50 and be done with it. But if you do want your super weapon, you'll have to go there, turn in 20, and then come back later and finish the game.
And I think it's worth mentioning, too, for any folks that maybe haven't had an opportunity to run a dark matter hunt in 4.6 or before, dark matters accumulate in your inventory. So if you lose track, like I often do, once I get past 10, my fingers run out, y'all, then you can dip into your inventory real quick and take a quick look and see, oh, I got 28. I know where I am in my standings. Or, if you need to see if you have enough for the super weapon, that's kind of how you keep track.
Now, there is a little bit of a wrinkle on that. When you go to Quarry, if you've got your 28 and you say, hey, here, he's going to take your entire 28 for your 20. That'll still count towards your 50, but you're going to need to remember how much you turned in if you're using your as your reminder.
And when you make that first turn in, he's going to tell you, okay, this is great. But say you did 28, okay, now give me 22 more. So now you remember, okay, let's get 22 from here.
All right, team. Is that everything we have on Zentensuken? Are we ready to move on?
I think so.
On to then the Tsunami Open, what was formerly known as 100cc. Take it away, Dimar.
For those of you who are familiar with some of the recent community races, you may remember this one also as This or That. You have 3 groups of objectives where your choices matter. So taken from This or That, you have the Monster King or Monster Queen spot at the Fey March. You can trade one or two of the tails, which may or may not be gated by the other one, as we saw in the other community race. But the point here is you got to overcome a slow start to navigate your way to the underworld where everything opens up significantly. These forks in the road kind of help you make a decision on which way you wish to go. And you get 2 paths to victory here. You can either defeat Zeromus and do 12 key item checks, or you can go do 20 bosses and destroy the giant in battle. Now, there is one fixed objective here, which is to do the forge. But other than that, to get the crystal, if you want to go to Zeromus fight, you also need to drop the magma key into the agate and open the pass door. So those 2 are mandatory if you wish to go to the Zeromus fight. The key items have been unweighted, and a lot of these checks are going to be underground with the introduction of KMIB below. And yes, you do see that forced hook route there, so you will be making a run through the hook route at some point today in this.
Yeah, me at below and late dark really plays into, hey, Leviathan's in the underground, right? And so that kind of themes it up a little bit. I think it also kind of themes up that you can see we also have another flag set with a 4-start key item in the legend sword. So you're always going to start with the legend, kind of guaranteed a key item there. Interesting enough, P are in chests, so the pass will not shuffle into the key item pool. Instead, you're going to have to do a little looting for it. And a quick little shout out that, a reminder almost, that 5.0 pass is now a key item. So when you pull that out of a chest, your key item count goes up by 1.
I mean, like, DMAR's done an incredible job on all of these flag sets, but I really love what is happening with this one. You don't know at the beginning what your best way is. If you're familiar with the flag set and you've run it sometimes, you likely have a preference, and happily, not everybody has the same preference. There are some of us that are like, 20 bosses, let's do this, and some people that are like, you sucker, I'm taking 12 key items. But even those of us with our preferences are still watching the seed play out as we go through and keeping an eye on it. You know, maybe this is the time I go against my normal.
Yeah, even though you may have your preferences, you always have that other option in your back pocket to fall back to if you need to.
Okay.
I also wanted to point out here that there are individual bosses that have been removed from the flag set. No water hack, no Fable Gauntlet, which is going to be fantastic because who has time for a Fable Gauntlet? The Mirror Cecil Karate, the King Queen. But it also comes at a price that the rest of the bosses are not free. So your Baron Guards, you can't cast stone on them, unfortunately, or toss a coffin at them. You'll have to do it the hard way.
Got a nice chunk of experience boosts. 12% every time you knock out an objective, and 5% every time you check a key item. Also noting that in Group C, where it says do one of Group A and do one of Group B, those also will get you your 12%. So you build it up pretty fast, and by the time you've gotten your 20 bosses to your 12 key items and done everything else, you're probably good to go.
Well, if
Also,
I remember
let's...
right, there were 3 flag sets total.
There are, and before we run away from this one, which I love so much, real quick, the Archer kit. Oh, that Archer kit's a lifesaver, because this is a slow start, and you've got to deal with that hook route to get underground, but there's a good bow and arrows in there, and the number of times that's been what got this flag set. Yeah, go get that Archer.
Before we jump to the next one, I also want to point out that there is a multiplier cap of 300%. So once you get to that triple experience, that is it. You cannot grow any more of your multiplier there.
Oh no, only triple XP. Whatever will I do?
Right. There you limit.
Think I'll grind on Deaver
300,000 XP. Wait, why am I going to the ribbon room with this flag set? Anyway.
And now the final.
Why, yes, Alchemy, it does say 400 there. Oh no, that's because we just switched to Mega Flare already.
Somebody jumped ahead on the slide screen.
Look, I thought right click was go back a slide.
The Tsunami one did say 300.
The Tsunami one does say 300, promise.
It does.
Oh, pro streaming.
And now to the final flag set, the 50cc is now the Mega Flare Rally, which is my personal favorite. You take a small party of 3 and you strengthen them by taking advantage of massive experience point multipliers and optional side quests. Those boss objectives you have do not affect your progress, but you are guaranteed an experience multiplier if you find them. So you don't have to go racking your brain, oh, where's this boss? Where's that Wyvern? Where's that Bahamut? But you have the option, because you start with the Darkness Crystal at the gate, to make an early moon or giant dive reap massive power gains, which come with those risky moves. And that's because you have a max tier treasure of 5, I believe. But the ungated one is they're all on the moon or the giant. So if you want that tier 7 or tier 8 item, you have to go make your move to one of those two places. To complete this one, you have a group of fixed objectives, which is Cave Bahamut, the Ribbon Altar, and Masamune Altar. And then you have a 4 out of 6 group of Trade to Ratzel or 5 random tough quests. So it is a 7 out of 9 objectives. And the new collect GP objective comes into play because now you can go and bring Corey, who is Corey's assistant downstairs, some money, and he will give you a spoon, a curse ring, and an adamant armor, respectively. But he just wants to get paid, so early looting is another option if you need immediate power.
I got a question for you. What does that D objective do?
That D objective is just your optional boss hunts, and while it gives you no rewards, it does give you that experience bonus of 10%, which is multiplicative with the Zont bonus and the key item check bonuses. So you can gain massive experience point bonuses up to quad experience by doing these objectives.
Yeah, very fun synergy between some of the new flag set groups that we have here, where you can use those objective groups not just for rewards or to get end of game, but just to get that little je ne sais quoi of experience.
And we're also breaking out Party 3 for this. That's not something that's been seen in tournament life. We did Party 4 once, but now we are Party 3.
Yeah, but if I don't like one of my
offset.
characters, I can just get rid of them and get a new one, right?
Unfortunately, you cannot, because the party selection is a huge part of the strategic thinking here that comes in, because you have permajoin and C-buy. So those 3 party members, you need to think about them very carefully.
Oh, Alchemy, I'm afraid one of those characters is the hero.
Yeah,
Kissing the floor won't do anything.
I was about
Unless
to
the
say,
hero is Tella. Oh wait, we don't start with Tella. It's almost like DMR foresaw that particular thought.
In fact, Tella's been a little more kicked to the curb. He can only appear in the partner slot now.
Yeah, if he is there, it's take him or leave him. But also, Cecil and Fusoya will be making limited appearances here too, because they will either be in the starting hero or the starting partner spots, or they won't be in here at all either.
What are the odds that one of these would start with a Cecil and a Fu?
Oh,
Surely
I know,
low.
right? It's not like our opening test is really bad or something, you know?
No, definitely not. But at least that was still an interesting decision point, because you're starting with Cecil as a Dark Knight. Do you really trust Fu to get Cecil up the mountain? Some of us did, some of us did not. Look, having been a runner and also a long-time commentator, I'm here for divergence. I know a lot of the people watching are here for divergence too, and you've done a great job with a lot of things in these flag sets, DMR, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing divergence when these come out to play.
And that is one of the biggest objectives that we wanted to have here in showcasing the 5.0, is that we wanted to show the different possibilities of how we can get that divergence. The Santasuken one, you have that point system. It's wide open once you're there. You're only restricted by getting underground or getting to the moon. So, and then the other one, you have multiple paths to victory. This one right here, you have the option to go risk and reward. Which way do you wish to go? So we really wanted to push that divergence here in the Eidolon Express Grand Prix. And as someone said in the comment, there's lots of Eddie seeds in this one. His potential is through the roof with that massive 400 point, that 400% experience multiplier. So
I think one
he's
of
like,
the
okay,
other I think one of the other really fun synergies also is in the T flags here, where you have T wildish, but you have T playable. So, with buy and permajoin on, there's a certain thought to, do you fade your character checks for a moment to see if an Excalibur, or not Excalibur, because you're probably not doing Meabs, but something pops up like a longsword or whatever that tells you that there's an edge in the seat. So if you want to lean on a Berserker strat and you maybe don't see him in the beginning, how far do you push with two characters, reserving that third spot for an edge that is out there because the T playable flag told you so. Max tier 5 is a little tricky, but interesting enough, this is where that new flag T unrestrict comes in with the moon. So the moon gets put right back to where it normally is on a T wildish setting, which is very, very fun because you start with darkness. So a little bit of looting on the moon will probably go a very long way, but we do par that back on Meab's Pro. So you're not going to pull something super amazing out of Eidolon. You're going to have to probably dip into the LST Meabs if you really want that Excalibur or that Crystal Sword. And then similarly, keeping the focus on looting, we are on an S Pro, playable again with no apples. So definitely weighted toward chests and not towards shopping here.
Yeah, that math seems about right, Mr. Love.
I do also want to point out that out of these three flag sets, this is the only one that will have the dreaded Fable Gauntlet. The Gauntlet has been removed from all the other flag sets because B Chaos and B maybe are not on this one. So this will be your standard as far as bosses go.
And as you mentioned earlier, Dimar, no sirens in here because your max multiplier is 400. So you're very, very used to 10 key items getting you 2 times. You can go up to 4 times here with objective bonuses giving you 10%, key item checks giving you 2, zonks giving you 2. So it's going to add up real, real quick. Sirens would be perhaps a little broken. So experience really is a sort of way to balance out the max party 3, because you are very readily going to get all the levels you could possibly need and really just run up the clock on your levels and experience.
Not so fast, my friend. There are still 2 ways you can get sirens. You can still get them in chests in the treasure, or with S Pro, you can still get them at the forge. But if they're not in the forge, they're not in shops. But even then, with this much experience at your disposal, do you really want to take the time out to go and pop 20 sirens to gain levels? You don't need to.
Yeah, indeed, but maybe favors a little bit of an early underground and early edge with a little thievery action going on. But also one of the fun parts with the X flags is if you don't really get the right circumstances, it becomes a little bit of a lossy scenario because you're just getting so much natural experience. So is it worth the time to go in? Especially with Meab above on those guys in the tower, my brain is failing me here, are not going to have any Meab checks in them, and notoriously poor loot.
And just to touch on the kits here, you notice that there is the better kit and the exit kit. These are your standard issue for every seed in the Eidolon Express Grand Prix. Now, each one does have their own unique individual one, but that better and exit, that is your standard issue. So you will always have exits at the beginning at your disposal, regardless of who you take.
And a bit on the looting there. 100,000 for the spoon, 250,000 curse ring, 500 for the adamant. Works similar to the dark matter. He'll take the money you've got, keep up with how much you gave him if you showed up with less than 500.
Now,
And a
we would
small
like
note.
to. Yeah, we would like to point out that this is a cumulative thing. So if you go to Tori with the full 500,000, he will take all 500,000 and give you all three of those items. So if you want to save up and just make it all in one trip, you absolutely can.
It also means that if you don't want the adamant armor for some reason, and you only want the cursed ring, you should sell, or you should buy some stuff, get rid of a little bit of your money to drop just down below 500,000, because otherwise he'll take it without your permission.
But the shiny adamant armor, it must be mine. You do you. Whatever.
All right, team. We talked a lot
Well,
about
this-
flag sets. Are we ready for format?
I think we are.
Yay!
Okay, so before I talk about this each of the phases, which we've named in a creative way, I want to read to you the opening of the Eidolon Express Grand Prix rules document. The Eidolon Express Grand Prix is designed to be a comprehensive test of free enterprise racing skills. Past tournaments have traditionally focused on a single flag set. This tournament showcases 3 flag sets that each test different skills. Can you win a jetty race when you start with almost unlimited resources? Can you manage your time efficiently when you have several good time-consuming options available? Can you quickly complete a challenging hook route with limited resources? The flag sets include a wide variety of flags and challenges. Only those who have diverse skills will rise to the top of this type of challenge. Furthermore, this challenge isn't just limited to flag sets. The racing format will change between the first and second cup. You need to be able to hold your own in both one-on-one races and group races to succeed. Short version here, we are trying to test to see who really has all of the free enterprise skills that go into racing. Because any individual flag set will only test a part of them. And this isn't to say anything bad about past tournaments, they've all been amazing. But this one is just, the goal is to try to get the well-rounded players who can bring all of that to bear. To that end, we have the format, which is broken into 3 cups, starting with the Enterprise Cup. This is, for lack of a better term, this is the setup. So there will be 3 async races in 2 weeks. We specifically chose the async race format here because that lets us get more races done in 2 weeks on your time frame. You don't have to try to figure out, can I schedule against someone else when we have completely different schedules? That'll come up, but for now at least, we want you to do each of the 3 flag sets, and 2 weeks to do it, 3 races. That's not a hard thing, and that lets us save time. One of the complaints we'd gotten in the past about other tournaments was they took too long. We're trying to keep this one tight, 9 weeks. So you are racing against everyone. Everyone in the tournament will be. So this is very different than your usual one-on-one, where you may say, well, I'm going to play conservatively to try to make sure I win. Or I'm going to take risks. You may do that differently depending on what you think is better for a sort of free-for-all race. Everyone involved. Your times will be used for a form of seeding. The rules document explains it more, but the short version is that you will all be seeded based on times. You will all be given points, and then you will be put into various groups with hopefully it's 8 groups. The top 8 times get spread out randomly, and then so on and so on and so on until everyone has been seeded. You can forfeit these asyncs. That will not make it impossible for you to play. It will hurt your standing slightly, but it will not knock you out of contention. We will simply treat your time as 10 minutes past the last finisher. There is no player elimination based on these results. None at all. So Enterprise Cup is where you play all the races, you are playing against everyone, and then you move on to the group stage. And speaking of the group stage, it is appropriately named the Falcon Cup. Yes, 959. No, I don't think anyone's going to race that badly in that sky. So launch the Falcon to make your way to the finals. Good luck. This is where knockouts will happen. At the end of the Falcon Cup, these are head-to-head races with your opponents. This is going to be what is known as a modified ELO setup. So you're going to race your opponent. If you win a race, the amount of points you will gain will be dependent on how they are ranked compared to you at the time of that race. So if you're in last place in your group and you beat the person in first group, you are going to jump up in points and they're going to lose an equal amount of points. However, if you're in first place and you beat the person in last place, you are going to gain modest points and they're going to lose modest points, and so on. Like I said, it is modified basically to make it pretty simple for anyone to understand, even if they're not familiar with ELO. Furthermore, at the start of the Falcon Cup, you will choose one of those 3 flag sets and you will ban it. You will not play that flag set throughout the cup. What that means is, let's say that I've banned the Mega Flare Rally, and Pancraz has banned the Tsunami Open, and we race each other, and man, my life's bad because I'm racing Pancraz, but that's the way things turn out. Free points for you, Pancraz. We are going to play the Zantetsuken. No, you cannot choose not to ban. The ban is required. So think carefully about it. And it is set in stone at the start of the Falcon. Yeah, we would play the Zantetsuken. If we had both banned the same choice, it would be random which one we're going to play. But we will know at the very start of the cup which one got randomly picked. And in fact, one of the things that we are doing for this cup is we are letting you know all of your opponents at the very start to make it easier for you to schedule your races. You still schedule them for the appropriate weeks, but you can schedule as much as 2 to 3 weeks in advance for certain races because you know in advance who you're racing. This is to take as much stress off of you and make racing as easy as possible. Finally, buys suck. We know buys suck. So we have introduced mirror room racing. This obviates the necessity of buys. So let's say that there's an odd number of players and I'm the one who would normally get a buy. But Scythe Marshal and Alchemy are going to race each other. I might be assigned to mirror room race them. They will race and I will race the same seed as them, potentially even at the same time if we can all agree to a time to do it, though that's extra difficulty. So if that's not possible, then we'll just turn it into effectively an async for me, and that's fine. But I will race both of them, but they are racing each other primarily. Their points depend on each other. My points will end up changing based on how I do against each of them. You will not get as many points when mirror room racing, but you will not lose as many points, and sometimes you may get almost none, but something. It is significantly better than a buy, hopefully. At the end of this, the top 2 players will continue to the next round. This is where, I'm sorry, people get eliminated, but you've gotten to do 6 races so far. We are trying to give you as much time as possible. And then we get to the Whale Cup. Again, appropriately named. The Whale Cup is the final round. It is the bracket system. Raise the whale and launch yourself to the stars. It's a 4-round bracket. So that means 16 players will enter it. Single elimination for the first 2 rounds. Best of 3 starting in the semifinals. Your bands still matter in this. In the single elimination rounds, you will get your race entirely in the same way that you got it during the Falcon Cup. In the best of 3, if you both band the same one, that the banned one will end up being your tiebreaker race after the first 2. If you both ban different ones, those are the 2 you have to play to start off, and then the tiebreaker is the one you didn't ban. So that's the Whale Cup. Is kind of the simplest of the lot. But one more thing to notice about the Whale Cup, and this is very important. This is a question asked by Alchemy. Now to answer it. The Whale Cup is where we introduce Fast ROM. Once the Whale Cup starts, all of the flag sets will be modified in one way and one way only. Add Q Fast ROM flag. So, if you get into the brackets, be prepared to race a little bit faster.
And in keeping with what you said earlier about trying to keep things tight on the time frame, we do not have any down weeks. There's no off week between the various phases. Given that we're not changing any actual flag sets other than Fast ROM itself, there's less of a need for it. It's not like people are going to have to heavily shift gears the way they do when there are 2 flags.
And just to clarify again, to be clear, the band will not affect you during the opening round, the Enterprise Cup. You will play all 3 flags. If you want to forfeit the one you intend to ban, fine, but that'll hurt your standing some. The Falcon Cup is where the ban kicks in. You tell us before the start. You tell us before the start of the Falcon Cup which one you're banning. Please tell us. We don't want to randomize for you. If you want to tell us as early as the Enterprise Cup, we'll just record it and move on. That's fine. But please tell us in time, and then it will continue to stay with you until the Whale Cup, where it still matters.
There. That's it. We have no more secrets. No, that we've let you know some of it as we've gone, but we were finalizing some things, and we wanted to have something to talk about at this showcase. But that is it. Signups are open. Head over to Event Team Public for the sign-up link. We will all be here to help keep the event running smoothly as things go on. Just message any of us or at the team in the Discord if you need us. And hope you have a great time with it. We are looking forward to another wonderful event.
Indeed. Thank you to everybody who helped out with some of our testing. Thank you to everybody on the event team for getting all this taken care of. And we hope that you guys enjoy.
I think one pivotal thing, team, did we mention when the start of the tournament was?
We did not.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be useful.
So, tournament is going to kick off on Sunday, March 15th. So that means we're going to do 3 weeks of signups to give folks plenty of time to put in their signup, change their signup if needed, and get that practice in under the new flag sets. So we are excited to see the times that people turn around, the signups, and to bring this event to you, the workshop community. And with that, we are going to go ahead and close up shop for the day. Thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by, saying hello, hanging out with us, and seeing what the big deal is about the Eidolon Express Grand Prix, the upcoming spring tournament for the Final Fantasy Free Enterprise 4 workshop. Any final thoughts, team, before I hit stop streaming?
I just want to sit here and say a big thank you to the community, to everybody in the event team as well that helped put this together, and especially the community, the runners. If it wasn't for y'all, I mean, we wouldn't be putting this whole thing together for y'all. So we look forward to seeing y'all in there and enjoying some good racing.
And we do promise the event, the link will be in the event team public very soon.
Excellent. Have a great day, everyone.